There's this really crazy question floating around the tech world right now. Are AI agents about to make user interfaces completely obsolete? Like, what actually happens to those massive monolithic software systems running modern enterprises when human dashboards just disappear? Well, today we're diving right in and peeling back the layers of the invisible engine that's actually running the enterprise.
Take Salesforce's recent launch of Headless 360. It forces us to ask a super provocative question. Is software losing its head? I mean, think about it. If an AI agent is the one out there fetching the data and updating the records, the visual dashboard, the actual head of the software, basically becomes entirely optional.
And this trend, it is already here. Get this, there's been a whopping 300% increase in Slack bot usage just to access Salesforce. 300%! Users are literally skipping the traditional interface entirely. They don't want to log in, click through endless tabs, or hunt for data anymore. They just ask a bot, and the old-school interface just kind of fades into the background.
So that brings us to our first core concept. Enter Headless Software.
Look, while the user interface gets all the glory, and, let's be honest, all the user complaints, the true value of enterprise software has never actually been about the shiny buttons. The real value is the data, and more importantly, the codified business logic buried way down deep below the surface. So headless software essentially strips away those human-centric screens. It allows an AI agent or a developer to just plug directly into that raw brain of the application.
Now, you might be thinking, wait, haven't we always had APIs for this? Well, yeah, sure, but APIs are essentially just simple instructions. They're designed to merely look up a piece of data or do one specific super narrow action. Agents, on the other hand, are built to analyze. They actively check multiple systems, they verify facts to avoid hallucinations, and they iterate through really complex multi-step processes over time. So APIs fetch, but agents actually think.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the stickiness of enterprise. So, when a fresh startup looks at legacy software, they usually just see clunky, outdated code. But man, the most sticky software isn't just a tool. It is completely seeped into a company's DNA. We're talking about ingrained standard operating procedures, human UI muscle memory, and specific keystrokes. It's the absolute necessity of having a single source of truth for audits, its strict compliance, and regional legal regulations, not to mention codified external forces, like insurance state laws. And honestly, the absolute hardest thing to stop? Processing financial payments. Because once a system is successfully collecting money across a bunch of different tax jurisdictions, a business is absolutely terrified to even touch it.
There's this legendary quote that just perfectly captures this reality. Back in the day, Microsoft reps were trying to pitch the basic benefits of Excel to Goldman Sachs. And a Goldman executive looked right at them and said, "I don't think you understand. We make more money from Excel than you do." Isn't that wild? The stickiness of software comes from how a business uniquely applies it, customizes it, and builds proprietary models on top of it. It's never just the base software, it's the custom, messy logic they've built right into it.
Which leads us nicely into Section 3, more than just databases.
We found a perfect example of this in the sources. There was this RevOps leader at a 1,000-person startup who thought, hey, it would be super simple to internally rebuild our instance of Salesforce from scratch. He figured, they knew what fields they needed, so why pay those massive licensing fees? Well, he realized entirely too late that capturing the organizational logic, the routing, the permissions, the highly unique way the business actually operates is an absolute nightmare. As the quote goes, there is this wild underestimation that you can just vibe code your way into enterprise software. Spoiler alert, you can't.
You literally cannot replace a massive system like SAP with a simple Postgres database and an API. While the naive startup view focuses on just storing and retrieving data to solve, say, 80% of generic problems and deploying in minutes, the SAP reality is totally different. It's about navigating decades of codified business rules, crazy exceptions, and highly customized workflows that literally take years to adapt. I mean, if you remove SAP from a major automaker, the whole company just evaporates. Why? Because every single decision about assembly, parts ordering, and currency hedging is customized and hard-coded right into the system.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, automating the edge cases. So startups very often fall into what we call the complexity scaling trap. They tend to view tasks, like expense reporting, through this highly simplistic lens. At startup scale, you can literally just dump 40 employee travel receipts in a bucket for one human to rifle through. Easy, right? For minor automation, you might take photos of the receipts, use some OCR to categorize them, and boom, declare the problem solved. But at enterprise scale,
Suddenly, you're managing 100,000 employees across 20 different countries with clashing national tax laws, totally different currency conversions, and super strict corporate policies. Legacy systems actually survive because they solve those exact painful, complex edge cases.
The reality is, in enterprise automation, the default answer is just never enough. It's kind of like watching people use a McDonald's self-serve kiosk. They almost always want to customize something. They want the McFlurry with 2 mixed flavors that isn't even on the standard menu. It's the exact same in software. Even if an AI agent generates the absolute perfect default email to collect an overdue payment, a seasoned sales rep will always want to jump in and customize the exception handling based on their unique relationship with that specific client.
Okay, let's unpack Section 5, the expanding long tail.
You really have to consider the Amazon returns paradox here. Think about the manual era. Returning a broken item involved calling customer service, arguing for a bit, boxing the thing up, and mailing it back. Fast forward to the AI era, and a chatbot instantly refunds you and just tells you to throw the broken item in the trash. On the surface, it feels like the work just disappeared, right? But the reality is all about the new work. By eliminating the friction of that customer service call, Amazon kicked off a massive back-end engine. Now, armies of analysts and AI models obsessively study shipping patterns, warehouse handling, and product descriptions to ensure that specific error never, ever costs them money again. The work didn't vanish, it just shifted to the back end.
And this is exactly the Jevons paradox applied to software. When technology makes a task easier, the work doesn't disappear, it evolves. Think back to the 1990s when we used manual spreadsheets. Then the 2000s brought automated expense software, which naturally led to advanced spend analysis in the 2010s. And today, that has completely ballooned into complex business travel and performance optimization, literally tying spend directly to remote worker output. So the pie of work isn't shrinking at all, it's growing, and it's becoming significantly more sophisticated.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, Opportunities for AI Startups. The smartest founders out there right now are playing a totally different game, and they're using a very specific playbook. First rule, do not attack legacy vendors like SAP head-on. Just don't do it. They are way too entrenched. Instead, aim for the middle layer between established platforms. There is just massive opportunity in translating context between disconnected departments, like, say, getting IT and finance to actually seamlessly talk to each other. You want to build systems to handle ad hoc, unstructured business processes that rigid databases just absolutely hate. And synthesize unstructured data. Think about how Box leverages hidden company documents. That's where the magic happens.
So, what does this all mean? Let's quickly recap the hardcore facts. Legacy stickiness relies heavily on ingrained standard operating procedures, compliance laws, and financial payment processing. The Jevons paradox ensures AI automation doesn't eliminate work. It just creates massive back-end analysis and way more complex exceptions. And the real playbook here? It's targeting the invisible middle layer, not trying to replace core systems like SAP. The main takeaway today is this. The interface is dying, the exceptions are expanding, and the connective tissue between legacy platforms is, without a doubt, the next trillion-dollar market. So, I'll leave you with a question. If you are building an AI agent right now, which legacy system are you absolutely terrified to touch, and which one are you actively trying to bypass? Let us know in the comments. Oh, and before I forget, be sure to leave a comment with the word playbook to get the full mind map and tool framework from today's explainer sent directly to you. Catch you next time.